Hey guys, so we are going to start a new series. I'm going to be doing a tumbler. This tumbler is actually from Counterculture DIY. Looks like, based on the box that it came in, it's from Blue Flower Industry. Just to shout out who it came from. Alright, so this one I've been thinking about for some time. And a little bit special to me because it's a little tribute to my mother who had passed away in February of 23. So she loved flamingos, and I love this image because it's so cute and fun. So I wanted to do a tumbler that I can take my coffee with me to work each day and just enjoy a little piece of her with me in that sense. So this is a temporary tattoo, which I've experimented with putting temporary tattoos on resin. Absolutely will work. So now I am going to create it to go on the tumbler. But I've been contemplating what background to use and how I wanted to do it, and not really sure, not wanting to mess it up just because it means so much to me. So I finally sat down today and really thought this through. So I am going to use a double-sided tape. So this sheet is just a double-sided tape sheet, basically. You could put it in your Cricut, cut out a design, and then peel off in sections to glitter, all kinds of options. What I want to do is I want to make sure that my flamingos pop out. And I love these colors, and I like the pink too, and I'll combine some pink in there, but I don't want my flamingos to get lost. So I want a section to be kind of white behind them, but then I want glittered kind of at a diagonal, haphazardly, not perfect kind of thing. So to do that, basically, I need to have a spot that I can seal off from doing the glitter. So I'm going to show you my thoughts here. So I'm going to take this sheet, and I'm just, for this first moment, I'm just making sure that it goes all the way around the top. And then because this tumbler is not perfectly square, because, you know, we got to throw ourselves a little bit of a challenge here, I basically want to mark off. I just have a pencil here where I connect, because I have too much on this length and then not enough, of course, at the bottom. So I'll use this strip to do the bottom, ultimately. It's not perfectly straight, but it gives me a basis, an idea. Okay, so I gotta remember that this will be at the bottom. This is the length of my cup. So if I want this sort of centered, what I'm wanting to do is give myself kind of a base here. And it's not going to be exactly square. And you're not going to see this white, so I'm not worried about being perfect. Truthfully, kind of what I want to do. I wouldn't mind it being, and I don't know how to make that happen. So I'm just kind of marking up my areas, and you guys bear with me as I go through my little thought process here. But I'm like, I don't want it to be a perfect square. I just kind of want it to be like, you know, something kind of fun design. So I have an X-Acto knife. This is a Cricut version. I am not going to press hard because I don't want to go all the way through. Plus I don't want to ruin my mat below. And this side I'm just really free-falling it. And then this one, I'm just kind of going gently around that pattern that I sort of sketched for myself. I'm not being exact. It's funny using an X-Acto knife, not being exact. Because I'm not wanting a true perfect line. I want this to look very fun, natural kind of situation. Then I want to do diagonal strips. So let's see if this is going to fit all the way at the bottom or if I'm going to have to do some finagling. Yep, we're going to have to do some finagling. So we'll see about that. I might have to get another sheet, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. So I kind of want to do just some fun diagonal kind of strips. Nothing. Again, I'm not measuring, y'all. It's supposed to be whimsical and fun. That was my mom. She's very whimsical, a lot of fun. So I'm pulling from her. Life is not perfect, so therefore I'm not gonna make this be perfect either. Okay, I like that. So with that said, now I gotta be careful to not go where my other line was, but again, I'm not gonna be super exact. I'm just nice and gentle, not going all the way through. I especially don't want to damage my mat below. So if you're worried about that, I'd put something under your mat or under your paper that you're cutting. And normally I would, but I know that I'm just doing a nice gentle. So I'm being overly cautious in the sense of being very careful, but I'm not going to the extreme of putting something underneath. And if these don't perfectly line up, I'm fine with that. I kind of want them to blend. Couldn't remember if I cut there or not. That one is. Okay. I was like, I can't tell if I cut or not. Like, okay. And I have more double-sided paper, so I might have to just pull another sheet out to make this fit on here. Alright. Put that away. Let me see. My doggos just came in. They were just getting comfy. I thought maybe one of them had something. Alrighty. So, now the fun begins, y'all. You gotta try to get this back piece off. And we gotta do it in a way that we can roll this on. And I gotta make sure I do my top. It's just a real thin layer of like paper. It's kind of like a sticker. You get the, and I don't have much nail right now. And I might have to go from another corner. But like I want my sticky to stay here, basically. Okay, let's see. This is my top. So, and all I want to do is I just want to start it. I don't think there's a good marked spot here. I'm going to take the lid off so that that's not hindering me. And basically, I'm just going to line up here at the top. Oh, don't stick yet. And just... And then the idea, in theory, would be... that you could just slowly pull the strip out and work our way. Now, any bubbles and things are going to get worked out through the glittering process and our resin process, so I'm not so worried about bubbles. What I'm worried about is my lining up here. I mean, obviously, I'd rather not have like a massive funky bubble if I can avoid it. Man, why are you getting so far off? Okay. This is the in theory part, right? In theory, we should. Now, I'll be able to trim the top, so I guess maybe I don't need to be so paranoid and worried about it. We're just gonna roll. Sort of. It's really bothering me, y'all. So, what's gonna have to happen is, because our bottom is skinnier than our top, basically, we will have some creasing happening, which, like I said, I'm fine with because it's going to get worked out through our glittering process and everything. We did not come over very well, did we? This turned into like a hot mess. Hot mess express here. Let's see if we can do some rearranging to make it a little less hot mess express. Yeah, just a little bit less. It's not great, but it's gonna work. What's my motto, y'all? What's my motto? I'm gonna need that a lot this cup. Every mistake is fixable. You just gotta get creative. It's like Hakuna Matata. We can do this. And again, this is just like an estimated, so it's not gonna be perfect. I'm gonna have to fill in some gaps. It's gonna be all right. Look at that piece just about filled in where we needed to. And here's the other piece that's going to fill that in. Okay. Now, Hot Mess Express. So this will be a little bit fun because our lines, maybe I should have lined it once I got it on. Hindsight. But that's okay. I am not going to stress about it. This is not what I'm wanting. Let's just do this. Okay. And yeah, we're going to have some gaps, but I'm going to be able to fill those in. I'm not going to stress about the gaps. Alrighty, so I am going to pick out some glitters because I did not do that to begin with. So hold tight here for just a moment. Alrighty, so got us some fun glitters. Of course, in video, colors don't always show exactly as they are, which is, of course, frustrating for artists. But essentially, I've got a couple purples, a dark and a light pink, a couple different blue teals, and then I am so excited about this. This is called Moon Dust by Counterculture DIY. I know that I wanted something kind of white or light behind my flamingos, but I honestly hadn't looked to see what I had. I didn't want too white, so this is a perfect, and honestly, it was the only white kind of color I had, at least from Counterculture. I didn't look at my other stuff, but I think mainly I have silver and silver wasn't really what I wanted, but I didn't really want white either, and this I think is a good in between, so that's exciting. And then I'll probably do kind of just a mixture of those, a little bit of a mixing of these, a little bit of mixing of these, just kind of, again, playing with it. It's not, I don't want it exact. So, and glitter is already everywhere. So yeah, I want to do my, I got worried for a second. I did that upside down, but I didn't. We're good. We're good. I want to leave the white to the very last, just because I want it to have its glory and not have it get covered accidentally. And I realize that I am going to make my space a lot easier to clean up, which I should have done before I even set glitters down. That's okay. So I am... Whoa. Dogs went crazy. Okay, I thought he was barking at me getting this out, but it was actually my husband coming in. So anyway, he was like, "What are you doing?" Doing a tutorial. Doing a tutorial. Okay, so in spirit of winging it, like I said, I'm not super concerned about like a straight line. So yes, I guided myself with the cuts here, but I'm not overly worried about being perfectly straight. Now, I'm going to make sure that I get them kind of lined up fully at some point. Maybe not perfectly lined up, but like, I don't want this one to be that noticeable of a difference, so I'm actually just going to go ahead and peel that off. So I put some wax paper underneath me, and that's going to help. This is just not peeling very well, and I don't know if it's just the this paper or the angle I got going or what, but it's fine. This one isn't even close to lined up, so you can improvise and go ahead and do a little cut to get you a better lined up if you want. That's why I said maybe in hindsight cutting it on the cup would have been maybe a better go at it, but that's okay. And truthfully, like, if I was wanting a clean line, I would sit here and really do this slowly and peel this off slowly. But because I don't want it actually perfect, I'm not worried about the chaos of it, if that makes sense. I am going to, where this paper is bubbled up, go ahead and just give it a push down so that I don't end up with such a crease to have to hide. It's just little things that you learn as you go through the process. Okay, I do have a glitter tray also underneath, just to help catch some of the glitter. And then of course I put the wax paper down. I knew another piece had gone in here. Where'd it go? It's like it's floating. Oh, maybe I think I'm seeing the little leg and thought of it. Losing my mind here, y'all. Alright, because purple is my favorite color. I am going to start with purple. I was like, I don't know what color I'm going to start with, but you know what? I'm just going to start. And I'm not going crazy. This will get all filled, but I'm not going super crazy at this point. Especially because I'm going to blend these. This is a Bella Ray by Counterculture. Ooh, it is beautiful. And as you notice, like I'm rubbing it in. And if you don't like the feel of glitter, you could put a glove on. And you see that I have like this little gap here. That's okay. I'm going to fix that. I'm not worried about that. I have a technique that I use that works for me. So again, I'm not overly like panicked by that, because I will probably put a few different layers on. This is just to give me a guide. What I would tell you is this is not going to be like a mass-produced cup, because you're not, if you were going to do this cup and want to truly make money, you would, I mean, just from my own experience, you would have to charge a lot because of your time. So that's why I say it's not going to be mass-produced. And actually, before we get too far with this glitter, they make tumbler caps so that you can like cap off your tumbler and not end up putting glitter all in. But what I'm going to do, because I don't have any of those, I'm just going to run a little masking tape on the inside. And what that's going to do is just sort of catch any of this glitter that decides it's going to try to fall in. And of course, now I'm going to wash this cup really good before I were to ever use it. This is long from being able to use. It's not going to be like I can go use this tomorrow. And that's the other reason why I would say is, like, if you're in it to make money, this is probably, the techniques I'm going to use are not going to be sufficient and manageable, just because of the time that it's going to take. Okay. So I don't think that I can get any more glitter to really stick in that place right now, because I have it pretty well. Look how pretty that color is. Darn, I love that color. Now the question B, I'd like to, because I'm going to do more of this color, and since this is mixed, I don't want to, I'm really finicky, y'all, about mixing colors and things of that nature. So because of that, I don't want to add this glitter back into those, but I would like to not waste this glitter because it's a mixture that I'm going to do another layer on. If I wasn't, I'd probably just combine it with all the others, and I would just go with that. But because I'm going to end up using this again, and I don't know if this is going to fit in here, we're going to try. This little tray is from Michael's, actually, which is nice. It's just a glitter tray, and it came with this little brush, so I only use this brush for glitter. And that worked out good, right? If you're going to use glitter, just as an FYI, you're going to get covered in glitter. You're going to get showered in it. So if you're not a glitter fan, don't use glitter. Because it's inevitable that it's going to be everywhere. And I'm going to be sparkling today, and that's just fine with me. So, alright. So put this back. Sorry, bumped y'all. So it happens when we're working on a tiny spot. Okay. So, next I wanted to do my blue. So this one's going to come off pretty easy. And there's definitely some crunching down to do. Now this is where we do not line up very well. It's just my fingerprints making it look bubbly. Like, okay. I think we can just make this kind of meld. I bet my nail's too low, y'all. It's not helping with this. And I had a little bit of paper go under a layer, so that could be a little fun to get out here. I overlapped just a smidge. We'll hide this line anyway, so it's not going to be the end of the world, but I want to get that paper out as much as I can. Yay. Yay. For me, it's easier if I have a little gap in the tacky paper. That's easier to hide than it would be to hide a glob of white paper in there. Okay, so we're kind of coming up into this middle area. Now, I didn't count how many lines I have. Maybe I should have for color's sake. And do you see how I'm not like getting that perfectly oval? I'm tearing the paper opposed to going through the line that I cut. And the reason for that is it's going to give us a more natural transition. Okay, so if we do this one blue, where'd my pencil go? This is going to be blue. This one will be pink. I guess I should do pink, purple, and then blue again. Okay, that will work. I'm good with that. I'm good with only one pink in there. I like the blue and the purple better. So, thanks, Mom, for looking out for me on that one, because I didn't plan. She's like, I gotcha. I gotcha. I was watching. I'm going to credit her for that one. That we didn't end up with like a real odd situation. If there had been one more line pattern, could have caused something funky. Okay, so, oh, don't open the big side. This is Shiny Cerulean. I'm not good at that pronunciation. And it's Counterculture. So they sell their glitters. They're in bags. I'm not a fan of bags for my micas or my glitters. It really bothers me. Why? It's just one of my weird quirks. So, I transfer everything over. That's just how I am. I transfer it over to a shaker because that's what I prefer. But when I transfer it, then I cut out the little label and I tape it just to the container so that I know the colors. This one is not wanting to come out very well, despite me just now opening it. So these ones, it has like a little thing you have to pop it open. This one is from Michael's. They have these though at this particular color is a Michael's and this brand is Michael's. But I have some from Walmart too that are in similar casing or container as these. This one. And as you see, I'm just kind of mixing those. Again, it's not a exact, but I am going to rub it and get it pushed down. I'll put a little bit more of this one there. Again, not the most perfect, and I don't want it to be. Cool, okay. I'm going to try to go a little bit heavier. And you could grab one of your spinner arms to help hold the tumbler if you wanted. It's really all about what works for you. So, And then as you see, just kind of bouncing it off. See how we don't have a perfect line? And that's just exactly what I wanted. I didn't want a perfect line. I wanted it to be whimsical and fun. I'm loving the color combos though. I think it really is blending well and giving nice little touches. At least that's what I'm going to tell myself. Is that it's giving me touches that I like. Okay. And like I said, glitter everywhere. Just showered myself in that. Alrighty. So I'm just using my brush to brush this down the tray. This one is being a little more sticky, staticky. And that's just how it is. This is how it is when you work with glitter. So the reason why I put wax paper down is that way the glitter is not sticking to my silicone mat as much. Yes, did I get some on the mat? Yeah, and that's fine. It'll be okay. But if you're trying to reduce your mess and clean up side, because the thing with glitter is it's going to get everywhere, and your next project could end up with glitter if you don't have it cleaned up. So you can probably see my hands are all sparkly. I always do this with my brush just to get as much of the, or just throw it, get as much of the glitter as you can off of it. Just because that way you're not mixing your colors. And I'm just using a paper towel, basically, to break up the static, to loosen it, to bring it down onto my thing. This paper towel is probably covered now in glitter, so I'm going to go ahead and get a new one before we do pinks in here. If I was thinking, I would have done my blue lines together and my purple lines together. And normally I would think like that. I've done some where I did like a diamond pattern on them, and I like labeled what spots were what color, and so then I would do all of that color during that one section. Basically I would do all that color throughout the whole piece. But with this one, life is not perfect, and so with this, that's kind of what I'm going with. Is it's whimsical, it's not going to be exact, and that was definitely my mama. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful soul, taken way too early. If you haven't watched my origami crane making, I know that's an odd thing probably to think of, especially since I'm primarily resin crafts on here. But what I would tell you is, if you haven't watched it, that will give you insight of my mom and her, the story behind that. So let's see here, and I do have to be careful to not like catch my glitter next to it to not mess it up. That's a little too high of a peak, and that's going too low. Alrighty, let's go in here. There we go. That's more what I wanted. Look at that. I'm liking it, y'all. I'm liking it. Okay. Let's do... I was worried that I didn't have these open. So these little ones that I got, these glitters I got from Brick Art, I want to say. I was ordering something for my daughter at Christmas time from there, and I needed a little bit more to get free shipping. because I really don't like to pay shipping. Only a few things will I pay shipping for. My counterculture DIY products. And if it's like a special gift, then I will pay shipping. Like Etsy and things like that. Supporting other artists. Absolutely. I'm going to pay shipping. But anywho. So it was... I needed a little bit more to get the free shipping, and they had these glitters on clearance or on sale or something, and I was like, ooh, one can't have too many glitters. I have like a zillion, so yeah. It seems like a zillion, but these were unique colors, and I've actually have found that I don't have a lot of the colors that I ended up getting. I don't have those like tones, so I'm glad that I did that. And at the time I wasn't using a lot of glitter, and I don't use a ton even still, but there. I probably, like when I do the next layer, I got a little bit too much light there. I'll probably mix that a little bit better. But that's okay. I think it's fine. It gives kind of like this iridescent look. So, yeah, it's cute. It's cool. Okay. These little containers have been super handy for this. These come from, I think you can buy them, but these ones particularly come, oh, there's a piece of paper in there. This pink got more blue in it. Must have just fallen off of the cup into here, which not a big deal. Plus I think that light pink kind of has that blue-green look. Anywho, these little containers come from other like sample glitters. Sometimes when you buy like a I'm trying to think, like you can buy a pack of like sample glitters, or I've had dried flowers come in them. I'm trying to think, like, what did I order that had a bunch? And it wasn't like I bought, whatever it was that I bought, wasn't buying those. They were just like a bonus in it. Maybe some molds that I got at one point had, like, kind of like a mold starter kit or something, and it gave you some starter pieces, starter glitters, things like that. I guess that's all I can figure, because I didn't like buy them individually. But anyway, dried flowers I might have, like the dried flowers I probably bought, and then some of them came in those. And then when I use whatever came in it, I've saved them because I'm like, I can't get rid of it. I'm a crafter. I might use it for something 10 years from now. Well, guess what? I'm actually gonna use them for this, which worked out. Okay, y'all, we're getting close. Oh, you're trying to take my sticky with you. No, I want you to stay on the cup. So the nice thing is, if you use double-sided tape, you're going to be able to, like, you don't have to let it set up and cure or dry or anything. Like, you could literally go from this to adding a layer of resin if you wanted. I am going to do another technique to just give us a little bit more layered glitter. So I won't resin it right away, basically, because I'm going to show you that. But if you were happy with your setup, you could absolutely put a layer of resin on. If you do, we're actually going to use this technique for the next round. For if you do Mod Podge or something, you're going to want to let it set up for at least 24 hours, Reason for that is Mod Podge needs to dry completely out. One mistake I see a lot of newbie artists do is they will use the Mod Podge technique to tack on their glitter, but then they jump right in and resin it. And then they get upset because it comes right off and doesn't stick. Well, that's because that Mod Podge needs time to, essentially, the way to think about it when you're working with resin is it needs time to cure. It needs time to set up and dry. Plus, you do not want to seal wet under your resin moisture. It compromises your resin. So, you could, like I said, set it right up and do it that way if you wanted, if you were ready to put a layer of resin. We will not be ready for resin because I want to do these a little thicker. So I'm using the purple that I had in the little cup for this one. It is so pretty. So pretty. I'm just in love with it. So you can see that there's like this little gap of line. That's all going to be gone. You will not see that once we do the next layer. Look at all that glitter on my hand. Oh, so pretty. I do need a little bit though. Like, look at that. I didn't even need to get out the shakers for that one. Which that actually, because of the way I layered it, it looks a little thicker than this round does. I think because I put that really fine glitter on first, it took up my tackiness and didn't mix as well with the thicker. That's fine. I'm loving it, y'all. I've been terrified to mess this one up. But I'm very happy with our results so far. The look. So again, look at how much extra. I mean, I used what was in there, but definitely get still quite a bit. So, where would a clear... Oh, here it is. I was like, I've lost the lid. Lost it. I can't find it. I didn't see it. Oh, there's glitter. I don't know if y'all can see, but like it is all over me. It's all over my shirt, my pants. Oh man, comical. Definitely shower before I climb into bed tonight. Get all that glitter off. Alrighty. We got one more strip. And then we have our moon dust. Moon dust. I'm excited by that moon dust. Moon dust. Alrighty. Yeah, you're trying to take my sticky side, and I don't want you to take my sticky side. As you see, as I come up on that, I'm just kind of pulling it and tearing it because I want it to be torn. I wanted to have that torn. I see why this paper got stuck to the bottom of that. I'm just using my nail to take the white off. Hopefully leave as much of the sticky as I can. It's on the other side now. I've trapped it in. I'm pretty certain I'll be able to cover all that. Pretty certain. Oh, that big old crease bubble there. Okay. Anyway, as I come up to that, like I'm just using my finger to kind of give a basis and to tear it, opposed to going along the cut line, which is giving us that unnatural break there. So this bubble is really thick and it's got a lot of air under it, so best thing to do when you have that is just to pop a little hole in it that you ain't gonna see it, and that's gonna allow us to lay that flat. Probably the same thing here, especially on this last layer, because we've been pushing the air all around. It's now ended up in this area. So we're just going to release that air so that it's not poofing it up. Okay. We're probably going to have to use more than what we have in this little guy, because it's a pretty big area that we're doing. But we'll go as far as we can. And we have another line here. Not worried about it. Next layer, that's all going to be hidden. All hidden away. Why did you paper stick to there? I want my glitter there. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Okay. I'm excited. Y'all, I'm getting excited. Oh, this paper's trying to stick back to my bottom. And then I'll show you guys, because I'm not going to stick any glitter on the bottom here on this layer. But the next layer will stick some glitter to the bottom. So you get to see that too. You could add your tacky paper to it if that was going to be your only method to get the glitter on. Then perfect. I would go ahead and do it. I would just stick some tacky paper down there and add glitter. Only problem is, if this is going to be your only layer, then you're going to have to be conscious of your creases and your gaps. You're going to have to get those filled in. So another reason why, for me, I don't stress at this point, but it does make it more time consuming. And so if, like I said in the beginning, you are doing it to make a profit or make money and not doing it as just a hobby, something fun, something for yourself, a gift for a friend, a gift for yourself, then, you know, you're going to run into some definite issues with profitability, just because this is going to be so time consuming. I'm just poking a hole in there, see if I can get that crease down a little bit more. That one's bothering me clearly as I keep coming back to it. But I'm going to try not to stress about it. Might actually kind of give a cool look. Kind of make it look not so perfect, right? Okay. Glitter everywhere. So glad that I put this down, because it is going to help. I don't need my pencil. I could get as much glitter off of it as I can. Okay. There's not a ton of blue in here. There's some purple, just from where it fell off. But again, that's part of the whimsical of this. So I'm not, you might have some overlay. You're never going to get perfect lines. Sorry, bumped y'all. Perfect lines, because glitter is glitter and it's gonna glitify everything. Okay. Really not much in there. But my fingers got it. Look at this. Woo-wee. Yeah. Alright. My brush cleared off, because the fun is that we got this white. And I really don't want to have all this other glitter. Oh man. Now I've got you out of focus. Look at the back of my tray. Well, I'm not going to worry about that. I'm trying to think when I got distracted by bumping the camera holder. I'll get y'all back in focus here. Just one sec. I was trying to think maybe I should go ahead and do my purple and blue and pink layers. Let's see, are we good? I might go ahead and Mod Podge them, because I don't want to be doing those over my white. And so, yeah, I think I'm going to do that. Okay. Let's see, my stand is being finicky. I think I'm now down a lot lower, so I'm going to pause y'all and fix this. Hold on. Okay. Whew. Sorry about that. We were out of focus and we were way too close. So I was just going to end up keep bumping y'all if I kept you there. So I had to shift that around. Alrighty. So we are going to use a Mod Podge. Trying to just think the best way. Mod Podge is not going to be like, it's going to come off of stuff really easily. But because I'm going to be dipping into my glitter, or brushing it over glitter, I want to have some poured out, because I don't want to re-dip my brush. So I'm just using Mod Podge gloss. I put saran wrap on mine bottles lids, and the saran wrap needs this particular bottle needs new saran wrap, because I do that and twist it over and on, because then it's less likely to lose its seal. The lids don't always seal the best, and if you don't seal it, this will dry out. This is years old, y'all. Years. Okay. Doesn't take much. Goes a long way. I will put another thing of saran wrap on that. I just don't have any up here. Alrighty. So, poured some into like a little paint tray. I'm going to use a brush. And I'm going to start with the purples. And basically put some on my brush. And I'm going to go where the purple is. And again, I'm not overly focused on this line per se. It's going to have some overlap. Where I really will want a decent amount of Mod Podge is going to be in our cracks, those gaps, things like that. So I'm just going with it. Try to kind of build up here just to hide that crease. And I'm not worried about the glitter transfer within that so much, because you're going to get minor glitter transfer anyway, so I'm not really concerned. This is where probably having one of your spinner arms in would be more beneficial. But I don't feel like going and getting one. So I'm just using what I had left over, and I'm going to really work to get right in that crease. Now, you saw with the tacky method how I could just rub it in. If I start doing that with the Mod Podge, you're going to just have a big loopy mess. So you do not want to go rubbing too much with it. Now, I patted it down in that crease because I really wanted that crease to get filled in. So I did pat down there. But really with the Mod Podge method, you're just going to take it and then you're going to pat the bottom of your cup. Another reason why to not have glitter on your bottom just yet, or to not do the bottom just yet, because these shakers don't come out as fast, so it takes a little more oomph. See how pretty it's coming? You see how I went over on that blue? But look how it just came right off. So isn't that cool? So that looks really good, right? Sealed in that line right there. That looks good. We'll probably end up having another layer, is my guess. So what I'll probably do is let this sit for 12 hours and then come back tomorrow, essentially do one more layer of Mod Podge and the glitter, and then we'll do this one. So think about that just for a second before I move to doing the next section. I'm going to put this layer on. It's got to set for 12 hours before I do layer 2. Then we still have to tack on our white, which we could do when we do after we do this next layer. We'll tack on our white and do the first layer of white on it. But then it's going to sit another 12 hours to let that white set up to put another layer of white. Then I want to wait at least 24 hours to seal with resin. So that you're talking 48 hours from now before this is even going to get a first layer of resin on. Now, if you use a fast setting resin, then you'd be set for in like a couple hours after that to be able to do the next step. So still, if you're thinking custom cups and making money, this may not be the setup and way that you would want to proceed. Just putting that out there. A lot of people are like, oh, I'm going to do this and make a ton of money. And that's great. Like, if you've got the time, but I work full time. I'm a mom of 2 girls, my husband. I've got 3 cats, 2 dogs. Like, this mom, I don't have time for that, to be honest. Just saying, from my perspective, I don't got all that time. So this is more of a fun thing for me. And since this cup is for me too, it's fun. It's not a business for me. And I know I said I'm just pushing it down more than anything, and then I'm just wanting those glitters to blend a little bit, so that's why I'm doing that. And it's more of just I'm tapping. I'm not rubbing. Okay? You can rub when you're doing the tack method. When you are doing Mod Podge method, do not rub. You will end up with a gloopy gloopy mess. Alright. Let's do... And as you can see, some glitter's fallen into the Mod Podge even. Again, not super concerned about that. So this is like my therapy, y'all. That's what I craft for, more than anything. It's my therapy. It's therapeutic for me. I don't have to worry and think about life's issues and problems and be worried about things. Helps keep my anxiety in check. It's my peace of mind. Very therapeutic for me to do crafting. becomes a little bit more stressful because I do tutorials. A little more thought has to go into it. And I try to not get caught up in my head of, you know, all that. But they say you're your best when you're just slightly outside your comfort zone. Okay, well, I'm outside my comfort zone. But hopefully y'all are enjoying them. And if anything, it forces, I don't want to say forces, but it gets me in the craft space, which is very important. Because I told the family, I'm like, oh, I gotta go do a tutorial. I'm going to put a little bit more of this one in there. And the pressing down does help the glitter mix with the Mod Podge. So, like, as I press that, I could see Mod Podge oozing up in between the glitter, which is fine. It's going to dry clear because I'm doing a really thin coat of it. But this allows me to then just go ahead and blend that a little bit more. And hardly any of that fell off. Look at my purple finger. Again, if that bugs you, wear gloves. That part doesn't bug me. I don't like the mess all over my table, but my finger being a mess does not bug me. We all have our lines, right? We all have our things that bug us. And you could do the whole strip. I just broke this one up just so that I could really focus on that line there. That was my thing. I filled it a lot thicker with the Mod Podge. You can see that, like, this is a pretty thin layer that I'm doing. And some people say, well, what about streaks of the Mod Podge? The key is putting it on in a way that you're not going to get those streaks. You don't want it pooling. So if you can put a thin layer and not have the Mod Podge pooling, then you're not going to have streaks. I have more streaks from the tack paper on there than anything. So, and if you see, like, I go back over and I'm like, okay, get all this pulled out. And that's why. Whoop. I shook and then it, like, shot up off there. And you could truthfully do one color. I just liked both of these colors, both these purples. So I was like, I'm going to do a blending of my glitters. And it gives it just a little uniqueness of coloring. You're going to have patches of dark, patches of lighter, patches mixed together. Look at that. It's looking so pretty. So I may do one more layer just because of these lines. We'll see how this blue one works here. I may have to do a layer after I do resin, even, just to get that smoothed out and then do a smooth layer. I don't know. We'll see. I'm liking it though, y'all. It looks really pretty. Okay, that's all my purple, right? Yeah. Okay. I just had to check in. All right. Glitter. Mod Podge is going to come right off your fingers. It's almost like if you like to peel a sunburn, that's kind of what it's going to be like. So that will come off with some washing. And that will, I could leave that to dry and then peel it right out. It doesn't have to be on a silicone. Mod Podge is not going to stick to plastic very well. So, oh, why am I going all the way down there? So, it will, once it dries, it's going to peel right off. Some people are like, well, my Mod Podge doesn't glue. And I'm like, well, it's a glue, but it depends on what you're gluing. And it's more of, I wouldn't call it a glue. You're not trying to stick two pieces together and have them stay stuck, per se. It's better for decoupaging and attaching something opposed to like a glue. If you're wanting to glue something, I would get like a true glue. But Mod Podge is more for adhering things. So if you go in with that mindset, I think then you are setting yourself up for success with Mod Podge. I use it for decoupaging onto all kinds of things. Like wood pictures, I've done it onto wood pieces. I love to decoupage like a napkin to a jar, and that's a lot of fun. Or to a canvas, or to a wood piece. It's something you can make signs. I've done little furniture pieces, things like that. That's what it's more for. Alright, purple is done. So now we go to blue, and I clearly poured way too much Mod Podge, y'all. So that's just the unfortunate fact. I probably could have just poured one of these and been more than sufficient. But, you know, 'tis what it be. I'm like, what can I use it for? I don't know if I have any other projects I can use it for right now. I'm like, maybe I'll add a layer to this furniture piece that's over here that I could just add a clear coat to with a little glitter. That's the other thing you gotta be aware of. If you're gonna use it for another project so that you don't waste it, we've got glitter all up in it. Alright, we've got a funky bump going there, so we'll add some extra so we can thicken that up. Alright, and we had our line here, so you can see that's where I'm putting a lot more Mod Podges just to help fill in that line. It's looking so good. I'm loving it. And again, I really want this line to get filled in. So tap method, tapping it down, helping that Mod Podge squeeze up between the glitter, mix with the glitter, however you want to word it. The other thing is I'm using a gloss Mod Podge. So some people are like, well, the Mod Podge dulled my project. Okay. What kind of Mod Podge did you use? Did you use a matte Mod Podge or did you use a gloss? Because that's going to play a role in if it's going to be shiny or dull. So I would say I prefer the gloss, especially if it's something I'm going to see. I like the shiny. I don't want the dull. Now, let's say you are Mod Podging a napkin to something, whether it be a canvas or a wood piece or sorry, I was thinking about this little bubble thing, ridge, and got myself distracted. If you are Mod Podging onto like a furniture piece or to a actual like something, and where it's like the undercoat, you're not doing that layer's gonna be behind a napkin, let's just say, okay, then use your mat for that because you don't need the shine. You're just using it literally as an adhering tool opposed to shining tool. So It's all about what you're using it for and if you have the right style. There are all kinds of Mod Podgers like dishwasher safe, which I have some of it, but I've never tested it. Because I've gotten into resin and I feel like resin, and I don't put my resin through dishwasher. I'm going to hand wash it anyway. But I feel like the resin is just very durable. So that's why I haven't really messed with the dishwasher safe Mod Podge. So I can't speak to it. But what I can speak to is like using it to adhere and to craft with. They do have photo Mod Podge, which is to help keep your photos preserved if you're doing a photo project where you're putting a photo on something. Okay, so I want to show you guys, because this is a good spot to show. So this, let me clean up my brush just a little so that I can show you better. So this, and yep, I know what I did there. Okay, go back and we'll fix that in a sec. Okay, so this little strip is a gap that we had going, right? Where our tacky tape didn't meet. So I am taking Mod Podge on the tip of my brush and I'm filling in that crevice with Mod Podge. So now it's all white. Well, we don't like that. So let's glitterify it. Let's add some glitter. And then I'm going to show you what I did to the other side because I felt it. I was like, I know that I just dinged up my other side. Rookie move. Not paying attention. And now, really, if you didn't know that that was there, you probably wouldn't be able to tell, other than that I tapped on it and tapped the Mod Podge up in, because it's so thick that glitter is coming up and in, or the Mod Podge is coming up and in. Okay, so see, filled that right in. All right, when I place this down, not gently, what happened is it stuck to my tray and I did a boo-boo right there. So I'm going to show you how to fix that. Nice thin layer of Mod Podge. So this is where your stand for your turner arm would be handy to have. And I'm just using some of the glitter that's in here just so that I can sprinkle it right where I want it, opposed to using the shaker and it going. And then using the tap method, nice tap, tap, tap. And I'm just putting a little more glitter on my finger. And there we go. Now, it looks a little whiter than the rest of the area, but that's going to all dry and you won't notice it. Okay. Just making sure I didn't do that with my purple. Purples look good. So, you'll notice too, like if you didn't want that mixing right in there, what I would tell you to do is to do this in steps. So that's going to extend your time even more. Okay. Yep, lessons learned. See, you gotta learn in real life what happens. So that's why I always say my motto of mistakes happen. They're gonna happen. It's just all about how you handle those mistakes and how you go about fixing them. It's how you react to them. And how you get creative to fix said mistakes. So, and I knew exactly what to do just because I'm using that same technique to fill in those gaps. And that's just from practice and learning and figuring out how I'm going to do it. So y'all can reap the benefit that I've been there, done that. I'll take the learning, maybe not the learning out of it for you, but I'll take out the heartache because I gave you the solution. So as you can see, what I was saying is that the blue is extending to the purple. I missed the tray. And I'm fine with that because I want this to be more whimsical. Like I've said all along, that's my word. My word of the day is whimsical. So I'm not concerned about that. But if you wanted a more clean line, then you'd want to do this in phases. You would only do one color, let that dry, do another color. You could probably come back in like 4 hours to do it if you wanted. Just a better try and true is, 12 hours overnight is how I look at a lot of things. And I can see even some pink came over onto my brush, which is fine. I'm not overly concerned. This one is not meant to have crisp lines. If you're doing a project that does, that's going to take longer. And you're going to have a lot more work cut out for you. Okay, let's turn you. Again, if you had your spinner arm, that would have not been as complicated of a maneuvering, but it's all good. Maybe for the next video I'll have it. For part 2, I'll actually show you how to use your spinner arm to help you. And it's funny what works for you, too. Just because it works for me doesn't mean it's going to work for you. Or just because you see somebody else do a certain thing, that if that's not working for you and you're not having success, you don't have to do it like they do. Take the lessons that you can from it and then be creative. That's the beauty of alt. And if you notice, like sometimes I do the darker blue, sometimes I do the lighter blue first. I'm not doing it in any science fashion. This isn't like gotta be a special formula. Sometimes I go this way, sometimes I go this way. It's like just whatever is happening. That looks really pretty. There's only like a little spot right there. Okay. Just blow on it a little bit. Okay, cool. I'm liking it. Yeah, it's coming out really good. Alright, we got pinks to do. Clean up our blue. And then pinks to do. And then this will set for a little bit before I can do another round. If you try to do a Mod Podge round right over top of it, like there's some spots that I would like to do another layer. If you tried to do that right now, what would happen is you would start pulling your bottom layer up, the other layer. You wouldn't get full pulled up because we use the tack method, the double-sided tape on the other, but you will end up pulling up a lot of you'll pull up your Mod Podge layer. Mod Podge is going to pull Mod Podge. So, let it fully seal, dry up, and then we can do another layer. Oh my gracious, I just looked down at myself. Y'all, it's a mess. A mess, I tell you. As you see, I'm getting less of the tray clean. It's become very staticky. I need to probably, and my brush dyed blue. I think it's just got a bunch of blue glitter. There we go. Just had a bunch cut up in there. I need to probably take a dryer sheet to my tray. Oh, there I go banging y'all again. I'm not gonna get this perfect because the pink is the last color anyway, so it's got a ton. That really didn't help matters. I mean, look at this. I'm gonna be pulling glitter off me for days. Days, I say days. Okay. So, the pink area. Also, I didn't mention it earlier. I'm trying not to get too much on my paper there because I'm afraid I'll peel up my Mod Podge. So when I remove that paper, I'm going to have to be very conscious of that and not get carried away. Sorry, I bumped you with my brush handle, of all things. Okay. This patch is really small. See if I can open that one-handed, which y'all, I feel kind of impressed with myself because I did. It's because I didn't want to set this down and risk banging it up. So again, not rubbing, tap method. Mod Podge equals tap method. Now there is a couple thicker patches. You probably can't tell based on the camera view, but I was able to just move those to the thinner patches before I tapped it. But Mod Podge equals tap. If you're doing the tacky paper, double-sided tape method, roll with the rub. Rub-a-dub-dub. There's like a little piece of paper sneaking down in that I just wanted to get him up so there wasn't just like this funky gap. And then, yeah, just look at this. So pretty. I like these colors a lot. I have so much Mod Podge left over, y'all. I don't want to pour it into my other jar because that is got so much glitter in it, but I also don't want to waste it. Mod Podge, you have a little bit of time to work with before it like fully dries up and sets. As thick as that is, that would take forever in that container. Granted, you don't want to wait too long. There's all kinds of different methods depending on what you're doing to apply or use it for. Some methods you want the thin layer of Mod Podge to go ahead and dry before you add something, and then you use a little heat to add it, but not the method we're using today. All right. I love it. I love how it's looking. Okay, because I have some of this already pre-mixed, but not a lot. Like, where's my pinks? The only thing with this is I was able to like mix them by rubbing them on the tacky paper. You could mix up your own batch, like on the side, and have it, I guess, but I'm going sporadic. So I'm just going to use the tap method and kind of work it in that way. There's a piece of paper that was in the container of our other. All right. I think that's about good. I think that works out very nicely. Yeah, look at that. And it's a little light. I think the next round we'll get it a little darker. Although that kind of did it for me. I mean, I want some of that light in there, so don't get me wrong. But I'm risking, at that point, I'm risking just overworking it. And sometimes you just gotta set it down and move on. Okay, so all sticky. That is definitely Mod Podge sticking. I don't think there's much pink to really save here. And I set my brush down. It fell, so I couldn't find it. There's not a ton here to save, but there's a little bit, so we'll go ahead and put it in here. What we're able to save. And then I'm going to show you what I'm going to do to my tray. Now granted, I need to really just get a dryer sheet and probably de-static it, if that makes any sense. But oh, it's underneath. Okay. Okay, so like I said, de-static this with a dryer sheet will help. But in the meantime, let's pull that up. Throw that in the garbage. Whew, I'm covered. But in the meantime, what I was going to do is just take a little bit of rubbing alcohol and a paper towel. Because the rubbing alcohol is going to help loop it together. And allow that to get picked up. I don't know if y'all can see where I'm at. No, you can't. This edge where my wax paper wasn't there is just covered. I had where I dipped my finger from Mod Podge, it kind of went in there, so it's all good. But got this. And then like I said, I'll take a dryer sheet, kind of de-static this, and that will be much better once we use it again. But it's not perfect, but I'll get it a little bit more cleaned up, and water will help too. So, wash hands good, and that is, oh, to clean out your brush, hot water and some soap, Dawn soap. We'll get that cleaned out. I'll see you guys again soon. Bye.